Chapter 31. The two Marcus Brights sat opposite each other. One was waiting to feel the hard knife reach his flesh. The other was waiting for lips to loosen. The tension was strong, the pair of them definitely having the same will and determination. Maybe it was genetic, the Marcus Bright who was tied up thought. As the coldness of the knife touched flesh, Marcus flinched. The shock of the cold always made him jump. He immediately thought back to Ellie getting into bed with cold hands and using his torso to warm herself up. "Can't you wash your hands with hot water?" he used to say to her. "I have, but they're still cold. Warm them up for me," she replied every time. The cold was soon replaced with a much warmer sensation. The skin felt like it was being torn like a crisp packet. Marcus imagined a serrated hole in his side, exposing some of his innards. The reality was that the hole was clean and shallow. It only made it around 1/8 of an inch into his skin, but that was far enough for a few drops of blood to make their way along the breadth of the knife and trickle onto the floor. He could hear the sound of dripping. Again, Marcus's imagination went into overdrive, picturing a puddle of blood forming around his feet. He needed to get away from this, or the fear would be worse than the pain itself. Internally, he began a monologue that would keep him from staying in the room, instead going to a happier place where his life was whole again, and the man who was sat with him didn't exist. "My name is Marcus Bright. I was born to two happy and generous people who raised me to have the values of decency and respect. I was an only child at the time, and still am. They had all the love in the world, but chose to give all of that love to me. As I grew up, these people became more loving and caring each and every day. I grew from there into a valuable member of society. I love my hometown of Washington, where I lived with my wife Ellie and our beautiful children." At that point, Marcus's thoughts went to his kids again. He thought about them a lot over the previous few days, wanting to hold them and tell them everything was going to be all right. Marcus stayed deep in his thoughts, away from the wickedness that was being enacted on his body in the real world. Every now and again, the pain deepened, and he had to strengthen his resolve to keep the agony at bay. He knew that the man would have sent him something that would give him a glimmer of hope. In his days as a financial advisor, Marcus had to look at the way people's attitude to life shaped their decision-making when choosing investments or pensions. He had been trained over a number of years to spot the difference between someone who made rash decisions and then changed their mind over people who knew their mind. But Marcus felt like he'd always had this intuition. At school, he could tell the kids who wanted to fight but backed down, and those who would keep on going. And dealing with the flurry of packages from this man who claimed to be his identical twin brother gave Marcus all the clues he needed that the man was irrational and erratic. In that pile of boxes, he knew that the man would have delivered something in a fit of temper. It would be his undoing. In the box, Marcus Bright held a copy of the birth certificate that confirmed he had an identical twin. Marcus would hold on as long as he could. His innocence depended on it. He heard a voice in the room. As he resurfaced, he heard the voice say over and over again, "The problem is, I need you alive."